Hi, everyone. Good evening and welcome to the webinar on Gold Loan Auditing Unveiled, Navigating Today's Challenges and Strategies for Effective Navigation. I am Sonia, Head of Digital Marketing Team at NCS Soft Solutions, and I'm thrilled to be your moderator for today's webinar. We have got an amazing lineup of experts ready to share their insights on auditing, tech, and business management. So let's dive right in and make the most of this opportunity. Gold loan auditing is a crucial aspect of financial management, and it is more relevant now than ever before. With the global economic landscape constantly changing, understanding the challenges and effective strategies in this domain is paramount for businesses and financial institutions alike. Now, let's kickstart things off by getting to know our esteemed panelists. Let's start with Mr. Ravi, who is a proven leader in innovative solutions, engages in judiciary and regulatory bodies, and establishes robust governance framework. Welcome, Ravi. Could you please take a moment to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Sonia. Good afternoon to all. Greetings to the co-panelists, the NCS team who are organizing this webinar, and a warm welcome to all the participants who have joined us today. In terms of my introduction, I, along with four other ex-CXOs, we started Words Management Consulting firm in the year 2022. Before this, all five of us had actually met at Muthoot, where we worked together as colleagues and as a team played a very key role in the company's transformation journey. Now, be it a new product design or to rejig the existing product or the go-to-market strategy, operational efficiency at the branches, the technology part, strengthening of the regulatory compliance or risk management, and for the overall growth in the gold loan portfolio. So realizing our potential and the collaborative strength in us, we embarked into this new journey of consulting. So we primarily focus on strategic and transformational projects in the gold loan business. Now, as an individual, at an individual level, as a professional, I have spent 3 decades in the corporates, largely in the BFSI sector. I worked for the likes of HSBC Global Asset Management Company. I worked for the Airtel Payments Bank, the Kotak International Business, to name a few. And of course, my forte has always been in regulatory compliance, legal contracts, and holistic corporate governance. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you, Ravi. Now to Dr. Manisha, who is with Cosmos Bank since 1992, gaining experience in branch operations, regional office functions, and various bank office roles, including Forex and Secretariat. Welcome, Manisha. Could you please take a moment to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Durai and all NCS team, and warm welcome to all of you. I am Dr. Manisha. I am hardcore and seasoned banker. I work front end, back end, middle end, and compliances and customer care and audits. I have initiated risk-based internal audit. We have implemented it when I was heading the audit department with its automation with ethics solution of NCS. So auditing is my current portfolio before 6 or 8 months. Till before 6 or 8 months, I am heading the audit. And now, since last almost 15 years, I am heading the customer complaints and customer care also. I have been nodal officer of Cosmos Bank with Reserve Bank of India for all sort of complaints. So I am the witnessing journey of banking, journey of various types of loans, its procedures, its application, its volume, and strict compliances day by day. Thank you for inviting me in this panel.
Thank you, Manisha. It's our pleasure to have you here. Now to Mr. Durai, a creative, result-driven technology leader with over 21 years of global experience in BFSI solution. Welcome, Durai. Could you please take a moment to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you so much, Sonia, for beautiful introductions. And I also welcome my co-panelist, Sir and Manisha. So basically, and also I like to welcome all all of you and for the joining with us for this webinar. And basically, I'm Durai Murugan. So I'm head of product implementation support past two decade of experience in various BFSI sector. So basically, I have implemented various BFSI product like trade finance applications and clearing and auditing tool. So currently I'm working in NCS more than 15 years. So I'm implementing the audit, digitalizing the audit process. So I have implemented various big bank like public sector bank, SBI, Union Bank, Punjab National Bank, like 10 plus PSU bank, and also various private sector bank I have implemented like Axis Bank, HDFC banks, and also implemented Karur Vysya Bank, CVB, various banks. So in this the NCS, which I have learned a lot of banking and implemented the manual process to automation. So thank you so much, Sonia.
Thank you, Durai. Now, getting into the webinar topic, Gold Loan Auditing Unveiled, Navigating Today's Challenges and Strategies for Effective Navigation. Let us now get to know the overview of what gold loan auditing entails and why it is crucial in the financial sector today from Manisha.
You are asking two sub-questions, entail and crucialness. So entail, what it means as which part of audit is inevitable for the gold loan. In that sense, I can say that audit itself is the important function. Maybe it for applicable for gold loan or anything, any banking sector or any finance sector activity, audit is very important. As per regulators also, that means as per Reserve Bank of India also, it is one of the four main pillars, rather one of the four only pillars of any financial sector, and it is audit function. Basically, the role of auditor may be internal or external or regulatory authorities auditing also. It is to have the sustainable continuous growth of financial sector with complete security, compliances, effectiveness and integrity. So all these words are in not only in words, but it should be actually implemented by the auditor, and it is the entailment of audit. It is for every type of audit, including gold loan. For gold loans, some few special things should be monitored by the auditor, but that will be discussed afterwards. And your second question, why it is crucial, entailment and crucial. So it is crucial in nowadays, it become crucial because the volume of this loan is increasing tremendously. Within 2 years, I think 47,000 to 70,000 crores gold loan is disbursed from 2020 to 2023 in 3 years. So almost 70% growth in gold loan. It is tremendous growth. This is the first point. Second point, in India, specifically, while we're talking about the India, 14% gold of whole world's gold is in India, and most of it is with the household. That means common public, civilians, not with the government. So naturally, we have the gold. We are very easy processes for gold loan. And since COVID, since this pandemic, money is required, and easiest way was find out for the funding. So in these 2-3 years, gold loans quantum is increasing. Gold is with us. Procedure is simple according to the borrower. So due to these 3-4 things, gold loans audit is more important. Again, one more thing I wish to tell, that NPA percentage in gold loan is also increasing. As per one review, it was increased from 1.5% to 2.3%. It is also much greater percent if we focus only on gold audit, gold loan audit and gold loan disbursements. I am talking about disbursement because this is the that type of loan which is disbursed immediately. It is not the working capital loan which will be disbursed in various types of frequency as per demand. So due to all these things, it is crucial.
Thank you, ma'am, for covering both the questions in a go. I agree that the internal auditors from in-house bankers should check their own products with increased regulation and should have integrity entitled to audit compliance. As you said, the volume increases, the auditor should be aware, and your statuses are very helpful to understand. Now, over to Ravi. With that perspective, what do you think is the main objective to perform the gold loan audit for an NBFC?
Yeah, thank you once again, Sonia. Okay, see, in order to understand the importance and objective of gold loan audit, first we must try to do some deliberation and introspection into the gold loan business itself. So, in any financial services business, especially the B2C segment, the customer experience is paramount. And when it comes to gold loan particularly, you will agree that the gold ornaments have a sentimental value and a lot of emotions are attached as far as the customer is concerned. I myself have witnessed this several times. And when a customer walks into the gold loan branch, he is more concerned on the safekeeping of the gold ornament rather than the rate of interest or the loan amount, which is the LTV. So this concern of the customer, in insulating and his confidence in the regulated entity is kept intact. That's when the audit function, becomes effective and the activity is conducted comprehensively. While the customer might not have the direct access, to the actual procedure, but since the regulated entity is under the supervision of the central bank, RBI, the fiduciary responsibility of the regulated entity gets well established. Now, let's also look at it from the regulated entities angle. For its continued business, it has to pass the test of regulatory supervision, right? And audit is one important function, or say an activity, which gives the regulator the confidence on the regulated entity. Implementing a robust and tech-enabled audit mechanism, which is more proactive rather than reactive, gives the regulator that confidence. So regulators' concerns generally revolve around, the procedure of how do we identify the ownership of the ornament, what is the percentage of spurious gold, what are the gold ornaments which have come under fraud or theft category, etc., etc. So all these things get well addressed, and that is the impact of the gold loan audit. Thank you.
Okay. I hope we all agree with Ravi that gold loan has a sentimental value attached to it, and therefore it has to be given more care. And what makes it important for gold loan audit is in gold, there is high risk, and hence thorough audit is required at the branch. It is important for the institutions to have a robust audit process and should be on a continuous way. And this gives the confidence to the regulator. Thank you, Ravi. Now let's hear from Durai. With all these requirements, what is your opinion on how has the landscape of gold loan auditing evolved over the past decade?
Yeah, thank you, Sonia. See, over the past decade, the landscape of gold loan audit likely undergone significant changes. So, driven by various factors such as regulatory requirements and technology advancement and shifting the market dynamics. So, I have some potential observation and opinion on how the gold loan audit landscape may have evolved. Say, for example, one is we can say that increased regulatory scrutiny. That is means the regulatory body may have tightened their oversight of gold loan operation to ensure the compliance with the anti-money laundering, know your customer regulations. And second one, we can say that could be a lead to more stringent audit requirement to verify the authenticity of gold collateral and ensure proper documentation. Second one, we can say that again, adoption of the technology. So nowadays, now advancement in technology like a digital asset management system and may have a streamlined audit process by enabling the real-time tracking and verifying the gold loan assets. And in this, auditor may leverage this technology and improve the efficiency, accuracy of the assessment. Third one, we can say that the risk management focus. So doing this as a risk management focus, as financial landscape became increasingly complex. The auditor may place greater emphasis on assessing the risk factor associating with the gold loan. In this, such a inflation of gold prices and gold value ratios and borrower creditworthiness. So this could involve more sophisticated risk modeling and analyzing the techniques. So fourth one we can say uh, enhancement to transparency. In response to the highlighting the regulatory requirements and the investor expectation and the gold loan provider may have measure to enhance the transparency and operational report practice. So auditor may play the key role verifying the accuracy and completeness of financial disclosure related to the gold loan portfolio. Finally, you can say there is emergency specialist to audit firm is required with the growing the complexity of gold loan product and the need of specialist expertise. So we may see the emergency of the audit firm specialized in the gold loan audit. This firm could offer trailer audit service. So deciding that address the unique risk and the challenges associated with the gold backed lending. So overall, we can see overall the landscape of gold loan audit has likely evolved response to the combination of regulatory changes and technology innovations and the shift to market dynamics. So auditor play a critical role ensuring the integrity and reliability of the gold loans. Sonia.
Thanks, Durai. We understand from Durai that the landscape of gold loan audit has changed a lot in the past decade with respect to regulatory and technology, like increased regulatory scrutiny and advancement in technology with enabling real-time audit, verifying the gold loan assets. Risk management is also focused, and here auditors play a crucial role in integrity and reliability of the gold loan audit. So to compile all of this, Manisha has given us that the crucial point in gold loan is with increase of in volume of gold loan, there should be increased regulations and should be have integrity, entitlement of audit and compliance. As Ravi said, this has the high risk, it's security product, and therefore gold loan audit becomes more important. And as rightly pointed by Durai, there are technology helping in audit and to ensure integrity and reliability of gold loan audit. So now let's get Manisha's insights on what are the primary challenges faced by auditors in the gold loan industry today, and what emerging trends should auditors be aware of in the gold loan sector.
Primary challenges specifically to gold loan is two, three things. One is value of gold, because value varies basically on two bases. One first base is the international changes, geopolitical changes, cost of refining and mining, demand supply ratio, etc. It is the basic thing due to which the values are changes. Secondly, the methods to value that to check the value of any gold is slightly different from institute to institute, and the baseline is also different. So on these both the things, value of asset is changing. So that is the very crucial, important and specific point to check the asset quality of that financial institution. That means the asset on basis of which financial institutions are lending, they have to check its correct value. Secondly, the weight, because it is the gold and it is not the cement. So small change in the gold may change the LTV also, the loan repayment capacity also, all the things are changed tremendously because it is highest volatile in sense of weight. So second is weight of asset, that means weight of gold, because it is very much found in many cases that when it was lending time, the gold weight is something different, and when the borrower become bankrupt and when we sell it and at the time of auction, it is something different, weights are different. So why it happens? Because the auditor in middle time are not audited this segment of borrowings correctly. So it may differ. So weight, value, and third, documentation. Specifically for documentation, it is the most important thing to check whether the ornaments or any gold asset is kept is genuinely of that borrower. That means ownership of that gold is important thing to check. Apart from that, documentation are very much important for any loan, for specifically for gold, because as rightly Ravi said that the very much emotions are attached to that ornaments. So if in case the death claim has to be submitted to the financial institution, then that documentation should be very clear, because when somebody pays the loan and take all the ornaments, somebody may say that this ring was of mine, this chain was of mine, and all those ornaments with its perfect weight and value should be documented properly. Next thing is how to keep that parcel or that asset in the locker or anything. As per various financial institution, the procedure is different, but they should be kept perfectly as per procedure laid down by the regulatory, laid down by the policies of financial institutions, and it should be checked peculiarly scrupulously by the auditors. And auditors should not rely on any financial institution and avoid to check it physically, personally and physically. So all the challenges are there, specifically in case of gold loan.
Uh, Thank you, ma'am. We now know that value of assets is changing with institutions to institution. So while lending, the value has to be correctly evaluated. Weight of assets has to be accurate. The value has to be audited in a regular interval, and the document is also very important. And plus, you also added the internal auditors from the in-house bank should also review their own products and the increased regulations.
Yes, after some period, after either based on period or based on delinquencies or based on amount or based on personal movement, that means attrition rate and transfers of the person, authority persons, etc., 2 times audit or second time checking from some alternate authority, maybe from in-house or out-house, from intra-region, intra-branch should also be there, so that the precaution should be added. And this type of audits across the institution can be introduced based on some basic parameters.
Okay, thank you. So now let's hear Ravi's thought on what other aspects of NBFC operations will have the bearing on the gold audit and its effectiveness. What strategies do you employ to ensure that audit recommendations are implemented?
Good question, Sonia. See, we all agree that audit as a function or as an activity comes last in the series of any business activity. And the purpose of the audit function is actually to check for deviations, if any, deficiencies, any failures or non-compliance, and report them. I would actually advocate that any lending institution should focus on certain key aspects in order to ensure that the audit process and output of such audit is effective in terms of its purpose, right? The purpose is actually to identify the deviations and put corrective actions in place. So just to mention a couple of them, firstly, one has to keep a sharp focus on the required policies and the standard operating procedures. It is not sufficient, again, to have them in the shelf, but the business should operate in accordance with these operating procedures in letter and spirit. These SOPs needs to be reviewed periodically, and it should be amended in line with the changing business strategy and the regulatory regime. This has a great value for any auditor, as a document for him to study before they start the audit process. Next, earlier I had said to you about the customer is paramount in this business. So if there is no customer, then obviously there is no regulated entity and no RBI. They don't have a role. So the focus on the front office should be on the customer onboarding process. So like, the risk profiling of the customer, more importantly, the transaction monitoring, all of these, the data from here is actually very important input for conducting the audit. Thirdly, again, in a B2C business, there is a very high risk associated with the customer grievances and related disputes. And data which captures all of these information and which is made available for the auditor goes a long way in establishing the actual procedures followed, the documentation created, which will all actually come in handy at the time when the audit happens. So if you ask me, there is a need for a 360-degree view of the entire business, which the auditor should have before he actually embarks into this audit activity. And you need expert who has hands-on experience, and also technology will enable to establish this whole process, to monitor and then keep the house in order. One last thing, as part of your question, the last bit of your question, one last but not the least point which I wish to sort of add here is the post-audit activity and actions. The regulated entity governance structure and the procedures should also be firing to make the overall audit function a 360-degree effectiveness. When I say this, what I mean is on many occasions after the audit report is ready, there are discussions on the deviations, whether it is a committee or at a board level. But then it is very important that they take stock of the corrective actions. And many a times we notice that the corrective action is required at a different function or at a different level, rather than actually where the business is actually happening. So that's the way I would put it, to answer your question.
Thank you, Ravi. As you've given the purpose of audit to check the deviations, and the audit findings should be incurred correctly, and the corrective measures should be adopted, and to strengthen other areas of audit to be effective. Firstly, we need to have proper operative procedures and should be amended with respect to changes in regulation. Secondly, focus on the front office should be on the customer onboarding procedures. Thirdly, the grievances should be taken care. And the 360-degree view is required. Post-audit activities and actions should be taken care of.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That was very valuable input. And I could love to hear from Durai. How has the increase in the gold loan demand impacted auditing process and standards?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, Sonia. Actually, the increase of demand gold loan has likely impacted auditing process and the standard in several ways. So one thing I just want to tell you here, as Ravi pointed out clearly, SOP, standard operating process, we know the it's very important things, which I just mentioned here first. There is a increased scrutiny. With higher demand comes greater scrutiny from the regulators, investor, and stakeholders. So auditor may need to conduct more through assessment to verify the authenticity of value gold collaterals, as well as ensure the compliance with the regulatory requirements. Second, I can say here, enhance the risk assessment. So nowadays, auditor assessing the various aspects. So auditor may need to develop more sophisticated risk assessment methodology to evaluate the risk associated with the gold loan portfolios, such as credit risk, market risk, and operational risk. This could involve use of advanced analysis and modeling technique to identify potential vulnerability and mitigate this risk exposure. In this, also we need to do focus on transparency and disclosure. As a demand for gold loan grows, there may be we can say the greater emphasis and transparency disclosure in financial reporting. So auditor may need ensure the gold loan provider accurately disclose the relevant information about gold portfolio, so including the quality of collateral and loan terms and risk factors. Also, again, I just want to bring it as Manisha pointed out clearly, which one point, there is manual intervention to verify the purity of the gold. It's very important, it's very challenging area which the auditor need to verify. So those things, there is a one point I just want to highlight here, the technology adoption again. The increase in gold loan demand may drive adoption of the technology-enabled audit tool and technique to improve the efficiency and effectiveness. The auditor may leverage data analytics like artificial intelligence to automate routine audit tasks to enhance the analysis to capability of improve the audit quality. Further, the regularity of changes could have a significant impact on gold loan audit in practice. In this, I could highlight here the tighter regulatory oversight is one of the things which is very important. The regulatory may introduce stricter and regulated governance gold loan operation to address potential risks and safeguard the investor interest. So this could result to more stringent the audit requirement and we can say the increased regulatory scrutiny of the gold loan providers. For that, what we have to do, they enhance the reporting standard. So regulatory changes may require gold loan provider to have their more rigorous reporting standard, including the disclosure of the additional information about their gold loan portfolio and the risk management process. So auditor may need to ensure the compliance this standard to provide the assurance of the accuracy and completeness of the financial disclosure. Also, we need to have a focus on consumer protections. So regulatory changes aim to enhance consumer protection. The gold loan market may impact additional patterns and requirements. The auditor may assess the compliance with the consumer protection regulation, such as fair lending and the practice and transparency and requirements. Auditor may need to evolve the adequacy of, we can say, the control and procedure and information by gold provider to protect interest of the borrower. Also, in addition to that, we also emphasis on sustainability and the digital practice. So, future regulatory changes may place a greater emphasis on sustainability and ethical practice in gold loan industry. So, in this overall, what I would like to say, overall, the future of regulatory changes are likely to be shaped direction of gold loan auditing practice by influencing the focus on areas and methodologies and standard applied by the auditors to assess the integrity and the reliability of gold loan operations. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you, Durai. As Durai agreed that there is an increase in gold loan and it has demand impact in auditing as well. In several ways, there is an impact like increase in scrutiny from regulatory bodies. Auditor have to do more assessment, compliance to regulations, enhanced risk assessment has to be done, and therefore auditor needs to develop additional skills. To focus on the transparency, we need to use technology to keep up the pace. So put it all this in a nutshell, as Manisha emphasized, value of assets is changing with institution to institution. So while lending the value and weight has to be correctly evaluated, as Ravi has given, the purpose of the audit is to check the deviations and the audit findings should be incurred correctly. And Durai has agreed with the increase in gold loan has impacted the audit and we need to use the technology to focus on the transparency. Now, I could shoot the question to all three of you. How future regulatory changes might impact gold loan auditing practices? So I'll go with Ravi first.
Sure. Thanks, Sonia. See, I am only trying to make an assessment based on the journey that we have seen and the regulatory landscape in the last 4 to 5 years, where we have seen RBI coming with regulations on scale-based, structure for NBFCs, and in relation to that, how do we do the risk-based audit? How do we do the outsourcing of activities? The digital lending guidelines? All of this, if I were to look at it, with a clear objective which RBI has, I think the direction is definitely where they would focus extensively on how best the business is being conducted, all the best practices being implemented, regulatory compliances in place. To do all of this, one of the key aspects is audit. And when RBI does an inspection, on any of these regulated entities, they look at the level of audit, the documents that have been, the artifacts that have been examined. So I say that, there is definitely going to be more importance that will be given to the audit process. And here is where I feel that technology will come into play. And not just for audit, but I would actually, again, strongly feel that your entire operations at different functions or cross function, all of that would actually need automation. And that is what will give the comfort to the regulatory body. And I think the internal auditor or the external auditor, when they validate certain transactions or the subject that they're actually auditing. So I'm quite positive in the sense that, yes, the way forward will look for, we can look forward to some interesting, directions from the RBI.
Thank you, Ravi, for putting in the importance of automation here. Manisha, your take on this question?
Yes, there is no two-way for whether to go for automation or not. That question is now totally irrelevant for any segment and any field. When we grow, when any sector grow, the automation is must, just only for two simple things. Same for all. No person specific thing. May not be the procedure, may not be the opinion, may not be the sanction, deviation, anything. So for first thing, same platform automation is needed. And second, more important thing is various types of reports, monitoring, prevention, checkpoints can be resolved or can be find out, can be noticed only and only if the automation is there. Otherwise, there is very difficult, almost impossible to find. How many gold loans are become delinquent in last 6 months? Why it is delinquent? Whether it is geography specific, whether it is person specific, whether it is the borrower specific, all those things can only be done with automation only. And your basic question is whether the governing authorities, regulating authorities are going with which tools or which restrictions or what. So all things are now based on risk. All regulatory authorities focused mainly on the risk. That risk may be of borrowing risk, including automation also. If the primary vendor who is providing various software to us, if that company will be shattered, that company have some problem, what the regulated authority will do? That is also one of the questions RBI is asking in audits also. What is your plan B? How you can go without that vendor, without that company? So risk is the basic thing regulatory authorities is thinking. And the global basis also, there increasing terrorism, geopolitical pressures, and anti-money laundering issue, which is not at all ended, but now we can focus that something may happen. So now customers are also risk based. All customers, we have to identify some or large risk, maybe the low risk, high risk, very high risk, or and all those things now we have to decide. Regulated RBI is not going to tell that amuk damuk, if this is there, this should be there, except very few. All other things we have to decide. If we have to decide, then SOP, as Ravi said, SOP should be there and it should be implemented also, not just as a book, but it should be implemented also in its correct reason. It should not be there that this is there, so we are going to obey now. It should not be there because it is risk involved in that. Some four people come together and draft that SOP with some insight, with some foresight, and so we have to do it. And auditor's job is to check whether perfectly it is going on and find out irregularities. State it in clear words that these are the irregularities, you have to change this. This is your procedural flaw and which are risky, and the regulated authority and your bank, your financial institution also may in the wrong place if these are not corrected in time. So basically we should have the structure as per expectation of regulatory authorities, our past experience, and to maintain sustainability with security, and full checking by auditors in letter and spirit whether it is going with the structured one, which is decided by the organization, and without any small hesitation, they should write it down in black and white with signature and stamp that these are your irregularities and you have to change it. And as Ravi said, the post audit function is more important. When auditor signs and submit the reports, his role is ended. Now he is risk free because he is stated that these are the irregularities. Now it is regulated institutions or entities role that we should look at all these irregularities very positively, try maximum to change, or try to change the procedure, or change the SOP only if it is feasible and if it is okay for that. So from regulatory perspective, resilience and risk base is the more important, and it will be increased slowly with hand in hand of automation and practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Manisha, for letting us know the automation is becoming mandatory, and risk is the main factor for every the auditing thing. Now, Turai, your take on that question?
So yeah, actually, it's interesting. So there is no doubt for bringing automations or adopting the technology, like Manisha said, in future there is a impacting always. It's what are the SOP standard process or whatever the regularity. So in India, there are RBI bringing day by day the different kind of guidelines, regulatory changes to strengthen the risk and strengthen the compliance. See, for this, no, without bringing the technology, we cannot tighten that vulnerabilities or goal audit. So, in my takeaway, as Ravi also mentioned earlier, see, the 360 view, how it can be bring it. It can be bring it based on the technology improvement. So we need to adopt the technology. Then only that whatever the regulatory changes, whatever things are coming, it can be achieved, and also it can be achieved fast. So nowadays the technology also bringing with a lot of new features, like as I already mentioned that artificial intelligence. So it will be finding out that where the risk is important, where we need to focus. So these are the things it will be going to compare the completion of RBI regulatory, and also it will be going to reduce the NPA level of gold loan portfolio and lending. So anyway, so my submission is that we need to bring in the technology in this for a gold loan audit, Sonia.
Thank you, Turai. It was much informative, getting to know all these details. As Ravi said, the future is very clear that the regulators want every aspect of the business to be audited with a scale-based audit, digital lending guidelines. RBI is focusing rightly to make the business correctly conducted and the level of audit is looked at. Very positive to look forward with regulatory. As Manisha said, automation is must in all sector because of same platform. Various reports can be simplified with automation. Regulatory focus on risk, and therefore automation plays a vital role. Global biases also taken care of the focus with technology. As Duray has said, technology person always emphasizes new technology should be taken up to support all regulatory actions for the 360-degree view with AA, and also actions has to be taken as per the RBI regulations. So now this session was really very informative. Now I open up to the question and answer session. If anyone has questions or would like to share their thoughts on the topic, please unmute yourself and feel free to do so. We have the Venkatesh has this question. Considering volume that sampling methods used, ensuring continuous LTV maintenance, and regulatory compliance on the closing and opening of the account same day. How to address these issues with technology? It's Vinay from KBL. If one of you could answer the question.
Yeah. Thanks, Vanessa. See, to address this sampling or things, we need to implement the technology, which will be track. There's a real-time tracking facilities available nowadays. So we can bring it the new technology implementing daily tracking system, like which I already mentioned. There is there are several technology platform available, which we can bring it in place to ensure that this kind of thing we can automate. So when we do the automation, absolutely, this can be addressed on regular basis, and it can be identified any kind of risk in no very earlier stage, so that we can no we can also focus on that audit related aspect as well as RBA complaints perspective. So it will be useful. We can implement the tail tracking tool.
Thanks, Durai. I hope, Vinay, you've got the answer. And one Mr. Abhishek has a question. Is there any qualification for the external valuer for valuation of mortgaged gold loan, which should be checked by the auditor? One of you can answer this.
Some specific qualification is there for checking the correctness, checking the genuineness, purity of gold, which the normal goldsmith and gemologist are taken that. I think one of NBFCs recruited only those people who have passed that degree. So I exactly not remind the name, but Durai, I will share it to you.
Okay. Thank you, Manisha. There's one more question from one Mr. Vijay Gurunathan. Is there any way that we can automate the gold loan audit process? One of you.
Yeah, Sonia, there is a product available in the market now, so we can automate it, the gold loan process. Like the nowadays the gold loan, when we go to the bank, they will have to verify, and appraiser has to verify all the purity of gold, and they have to check weight, all those things. So now there is a product available in the market. I think. Yeah, Mr. Vijay, there is a product available. We can go for it.
Thank you, Durai. Hope, Vijay, you got your answer. Mr. Raman, if you can unmute for your question, if you're still there.
Sorry, am I audible?
Yes.
No, this is Ravi. Sonia, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, Ravi.
Okay. Right. So I think to the earlier question, there is an auditor appraiser, the gold appraiser certification that is there, and NBFCs and banks usually appoint them for the purpose of gold audit appraisal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, something again went wrong with my camera, so
no issues.
My apologies.
No issues. Thank you. Mr. Raman has a question. I think he's having a struggle to unmute. Is NCS having any audit module for gold loan audit? Is his question.
Yeah. Yes, we are NCS having in Ethic, we have a gold loan audit model, which we have implemented various banks in India. Like we have implemented South Indian Bank, we have implemented Catholic Syrian Bank, and Indian Overseas Bank, and Karur Vysya banks. These are the banks we have implemented. So it is a product which is covering end-to-end solution of gold loan audit from start to end. The product is readily available.
Thank you, Durai. Mr. Raman, I hope you got your answer.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Sorry, we didn't get you. Can you be a little clear?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ram. Any more questions? If anyone have any more questions, you can unmute yourself. We have last 5 minutes left. I think that's all. There's no more questions, and we can wrap it out. I would like to thank all the participants and panelists for making this session a wonderful one. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Monisha.
Sonia.
Thank you,
and,
Ravi.
and the team. Thank you very much for organizing.
Thank you, team.
Thank you.
Sonia, Durai, Ravi, and NCS team. Thank you.
Thank you, Monisha.
Thank you,
so
Sonia.
much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank
To all
you,
the
Manisha
participants,
ma'am.
thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Ravi, and thank you, Manisha ma'am, and thank you, NCS.
Thank you, Durai.
Thank you all. Thank you all participants. Thank you so
Can
much.
we leave, Durai? Can I leave?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you,
Okay,
ma'am.
thank you. Bye.
Thank you.